Hello guys, this is Model RR3102 here, back in the layout. Today I'm going to be reviewing the all-new Rapido Trains GMD-1 in the Canadian National paint scheme with the stripes, number 1434. This version is equipped with an ESU Loksound Select decoder. MSRP for the DCC Ready version is $249.95, and the DCC and Loksound version is $349.95, and I paid $287 for mine. This one is number 1434, which is a 4-axle locomotive. These versions were the 1430 through 1444 versions were rebuilt from older 1600 series locomotives, so they went from 6 axles to 4 axles. They also got ditch lights front and rear like the prototypes, and they got CN zebra stripe paint scheme. So this is what the front of the GMD-1 box looks like. Here's what this end looks like. And that's it. So, with all that said, let's get to the unboxing of this wonderful GMD-1 from Rapido. So here's the unboxing of the new Rapido GMD-1s with the stripes. And I will say that this is my first locomotive or rolling stock produced by Rapido Trains. So this is a first time go with Rapido Trains. I do have a Prime Movers Line -8 coming out in fall that I've pre-ordered. But here's the parts diagram for the GMD-1, and that is a lot of parts, and it is one-sided. But it's pretty small to read them, unless if you go closer up on it. But that's what it looks like. Here is the operator's manual for Rapido Trains. If you flip-flop it, now I got it in French. And because Canada does have both English and French as their languages, that's why they have everything bilingual over in Canada. So here's the English side. We got the table of contents, contact us, 17 pages on the English side. I have no idea how much it is on the French side because I'm not going to explore the French side. Here are the DCC function quick reference. I'll be referencing them a little bit. You got the history, break it in, which way is front and whatnot, functions, address, turning on the sound, again the functions, your horns, sound volume, some CVs, factory reset, and then the other info, acknowledgements, and then stay in touch with Rapido on YouTube and Facebook and on Rapido Trains website. So that is that. White River Productions, that is something that Rapido, I'm pretty positive, deals with. Backside is a order form if you want to. And Rapido has a short hood forward operation in DCC for the 1600s and 1430 through 1444 GMD-1A locomotives. So this one does apply to me, so I will have to look into that when I take it out. This, and then you got extra numbers for and if you can't really see them, but if you see through like the light shining, you have the white numbers underneath. So. And then this has to do with the decals, and This is bought from Engine House Services in Green Bay, so it got the program, the number 1434 sticker on it. It also has a few part bags. That is the CN thing that you can put on, I think, the long hood side. And this one is, I can't remember what these are, but any Canadian modelers can help me out with that. And now, here's the unboxing of the real GMD-1. The packaging of these Rapido GMD-1s, in my honest opinion, are very familiar to how Walthers and Athearn does their unboxing. So now I'm going to take it out. Just a one-man job again, so it's taking me a little bit of a while to get things situated. So there you have it. That is the GMD-1 locomotive. So let's put it on the scale and look at some of the details. Alright, so I'm going to weigh this locomotive now. So I got 418 grams, which is 14.7 ounces, or 418 grams for the Canadian modelers. So and now it says 420, and back to 418. Still got it between 14.8 and 14.7 ounces. So around the ballpark between 14.7 and 14.8, and between 418 and 420 on the grams. To compare that, the first run of Intermountain SD40- the first and second run of the Intermountain SD40-2s from 2014-2015 are around 425-30 grams. So that is what the comparison is to a first run Intermountain SD40-2. It is not my heaviest 4-axle locomotive. I have an Atlas Dash 840B that's almost a pound. Actually, it is a pound in the dot. And I have a Walthers Proto GP60 that weighs a pound and 2 ounces, or 460 grams. So, not my heaviest 4-axle locomotive, but it is better than most, since most of my 4-axle locomotives do not break 14 ounces or 400 grams. So, let's look at some of the details on this locomotive. So I'm going to shut this off. So one of the first things to note is the door right here. That is where the battery boxes were, but that turned that into a bathroom. You got the nice tall stock ditch lights on each end, and the anti-climber, which are both correct for CN. They also got the ditch lights with the V striping, which is also correct for CN. Got the MU hoses, the MU cable. To the side now, you got the 2,000 gallon fuel tank, along with the flexi coil trucks. And like I said, the 1430 through 1444 versions, they have these trucks instead of the 6-axle trucks, because they were rebuilt from 6-axle locomotives, the 1430 through 1444 series. They got a bell, the bell located in the long hood, 2 stacks for the exhaust, horn that is facing towards the long hood, and then you got I think it's called a Sinclair antenna on the top of the cab. One thing that I think is cool on the Rapido models is that they did get the angling right here correct from the cab off to the long hood. And now we go to the back side. That detail part for the CN, that might go right here, not 100% sure. And then the anti-climber and ditch lights again, since these GMD-1s did have the ditch lights on the long hood, and then same details as the front. And from what I found out, these are McDonald Cartier couplers, I think that's what I'm called. I can't remember off the top of my head. But they almost look like they're KDs, but they're just not KDs. But they look close. Again, a bell and horn. And notice how two chimes are facing the long hood, and this one is facing that way. So good attention to detail. And then back to the long hood, to the side. Some of the GMD-1s had like the lettering, like think like yellowish, grayish. I don't know what you call it, but these are white, and that is correct for the these GMD-1s. And then again, the flexi coil trucks. Again, let me try to zoom in on a flexi coil. Not the greatest view on planet Earth, but they do look pretty good. And then caution, no footboard. That is good. And I do like that Rapido nailed the fact that the ditch lights on both ends of the locomotive. So that's really cool. Forgot to talk about that. There's snow plow on each end of the locomotive, along with the footsteps. Looking real good. So enough. I'm not too really familiar with the GMD-1s, since GMD-1s don't make it down to the US. So Canadian guys may have to help me. That's where the brake is on the GMD-1s. So let's take it on track and take it. Alright, so I have the locomotive on the track right now, and I don't know if you can tell this in the camera, but the number boards are lit once you put them on the tracks. And according to this, function 14 turns them off. So they come on as default on this locomotive, but with CVs or adjustments, you can change that. I'm just making a quick look at the manual right now. So anyways, to start it up, you hit function 8. Alright, so that's the startup sequence. Like I said earlier, there is a thing that came with the manual and whatnot that has the locomotive programmed long hood forward for all GMD-1s, even though this version is not correct, and Rapido has taken note of that. So I have to go back and change it. So right now, these are right out of the factory, default values and whatnot. So I'm gonna go in reverse right now so I can show you guys the lighting and whatnot. since this is programmed for long head forward, even though the factory in China messed up. So here's function 0, which is the headlight. I'm going to try moving in closer with my camcorder. Alright, so I brought it back down to more towards track level. And then function 1 is the bell, which is a bronze bell recording. Function 2 is the horn, which should be programmed, I'm pretty positive, for the Nathan K3L number 1, I'm pretty positive. Yeah, Nathan K3L number 1. Oops, I hit function 5. Okay, so that was function 5 and not function 2. So now it was function 2. Alright, so that was function 2 and not function 5. Now, function 3 is the curve squeal. But I'm pretty positive you have to be running for that to happen. So I'm going to kick it up to notch 1. Alright. So that was it there. Function 4 is the full throttle feature from ESU. I am going to say I'm going to have to do a little bit of function remapping after this review, because I'm not really totally fond of how some of these functions are set up. So that is that. So I'm going to change that. Function 5, I showed that earlier, that was the Doppler horn slow. Function 6 is the ditch lights. And those come on really good. And yes, the ditch lights are brighter than the headlights. And that is partly because the ditch lights are actually in the ditch light housing themselves and not like a surface mount like some of the other manufacturers do. Function 7 is dim the headlight, which the headlights do dim and the ditch lights come off, which is correct for the prototype. Function 8 is the start up, mute, shut down. Function 9 is the class right lights front, which is the long hood for this locomotive. Probably can't see. However, function 10 is the class lights rear. And the class lights are actually brighter in the camera than they are in person. Function 11 is the Doppler horn fast. That's function 11. Function 12 is switching mode. Function 14 is turning off the ditch lights, but I'm not going to do that. Function 15 is the brake. Function 20 is the Sarco valve, spitter slow. Function 21 is the Sarco valve, which is also spitter fast. Function 22 is the Sarco after shutdown, and function 23 is the brake set / release. I'm going to turn off function 11 and function 5 and 10. And now I'm going to turn on function 4 and start revving it up. So that is the full throttle. Now I'm going to turn it off. And I did notice that CV124 is not set. Is set more towards 0. That's because it moves immediately when I turn the throttle up. That's function 9, that's the class lights on the long hood. So that is it for this locomotive. I'm going to wrap up this review. Well, I'm going to wrap this review up. So there you have it, folks. That is the all-new Rapido GMD-1 with the stripes. Did not mention earlier that Rapido did do a run of the GMD-1s a couple years ago, but they were the ones with the 567 prime mover and without full throttle. So now you got both this time, and with ditch lights even. I do like the fact that Rapido has class lights on these locomotives, along with the number boards coming on automatically. But at the same time, I am going to have to go back and change some of the CVs and do some function remapping, since Rapido does its function mapping, I think, a little bit weirder compared to other manufacturers that use ESU for their sound decoders. Well, Rapido does its own recording, which is a little bit cool for a manufacturer like them. At the same time, they do a lot of crazy things, like Mr. Jason Sean from Rapido Trains here. Yeah, well, he's a cool guy, but I still need to meet him one of these days. He's just super, let's just say, goony. I'm just going to put in those terms. But that is my first locomotive from Rapido Trains, and I am really impressed. I cannot wait to get my hands on the Rapido Dash 8 40CMs that are supposed to come out this fall. So I have it pre-ordered through Bradley DCC so he can do some custom detailing and whatnot. So once that is done I will be making a review of the Rapido -840CM. Jason, if you're watching this video, I would love to see some SD60Fs and GP9 arms made, since now you've made not only the GMD1s, but are going to be making the -840CMs that are going to be coming out very soon. So that's my suggestion. I don't know about you, but the GMD1 is a fantastic locomotive, despite the fact that the GMD1s rarely, if they ever do, make it out of Canada into the United States. So that is my take on the the GMD1s made by General Motor Division of Canada. So until next time, see you all later.